I haven't really been too afraid of saying Roman Reigns is more than likely winning at WrestleMania. And who knows, I could potentially be wrong, but the more and more that I think about it, I just think it makes more sense. And I know that this might not be the popular opinion online. I know that a lot of people saw my short video that I uploaded as part of Shorts, or maybe you saw it on TikTok, and it got such a big reaction, which I thought was funny. But there's really two parts of this that I want to talk about. So we're going to start off with number one, why Roman Reigns must win. And two, we're going to talk about the storytelling future for Cody Rhodes and what should happen. So number one, we're going to kick things off with Roman Reigns and why he needs to win. And I think the big point of this is that WWE has done something with Roman Reigns that they haven't done in a very, very long time. And that is create a legendary title reign. More than legendary, this title reign is historic. And in modern history, this is something that is important to pro wrestling. It's important to WWE. And I think it's ultimately important that Roman Reigns does go down in history with this big achievement. Think about it years ago when Roman Reigns was being shoved down your throat. This was something that WWE absolutely failed with. Roman Reigns, despite all of the hatred, despite the forced promos and suffering succotash and all the bullshit that comes with being the top guy under Vince McMahon, he was able to get so much bigger and so much better beyond anything he's done before. And the best part is he was able to win the respect back from fans. This is a guy who was WWE's pet project who actually turned into become something so much bigger, and that's because of his own hard work. He really changed the game when he came back as a heel, when he started the Bloodline. This storyline, I think, actually, I'm definitely okay with saying this, but I think it's one of the greatest storylines in pro wrestling history. And that's just because there's so many layers to it. Now, again, your tribalism might kick in, and you might say, no, it sucks, and it's gone on too long or whatever. But when it comes to actual storytelling, and I'm talking about actual storytelling, not just calling it a story, but like layers to a story, WWE has essentially created a masterpiece with this one. And it's because of all the layers that go into it and all of the small details that go into it and all of the things that maybe you didn't even realize that was happening was actually happening. And all of these things made for such a great story. Roman Reigns, when he decides to retire, it should be known that this was his greatest accolade because it is one of the greatest WWE stories of all time. It is one of the greatest stories in pro wrestling of all time. And again, there's people who are going to disagree with me. You're probably going to shit on me in the comments, and that's fine. I disagree with you if you don't agree with me because I think Roman Reigns has really done a great job in this role. But not just Roman Reigns. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, incredible. Solo Sikoa, the first call-up from NXT 2.0 to get moved up to the main roster, is a legitimate star in the making because of this storyline. Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, all looking really great because of the storyline. These are things that can happen with Roman under, with the title, right? These are things that can happen while he holds the title. So what needs to happen here is Roman needs to win. We need to see the Bloodline at some point die. I don't think the Bloodline is ready to die, but I think the Bloodline could go multiple different ways with the storyline. One being Jey Uso. Sami Zayn said it best this past weekend on SmackDown when he was confronting Jey Uso about some of the things. He kind of mentioned to Jey Uso, you're not mad at me because I turned on you. You're mad at me because I was the one who, did a thing that you couldn't do, which was attack Roman Reigns, which is actually very realistic. If you go back about a year ago, or maybe even 2 years at this point when the storyline started, when you look at Jey Uso, he was the one who didn't have the balls to turn on Roman, and he couldn't do it. He was kind of forced into everything. It was a really great masterpiece in terms of storytelling, and I think there is a lot of great ways that you could disband this group. Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam in Detroit, which I'll personally be at. This would be a massive move for them. But also, you can do something with Solo Sikoa. If you ever really want to create the next star, the next heel, the next babyface, whatever it is that you want to do, Solo Sikoa being the one to dethrone Roman Reigns could definitely be an option. Now, where does Cody Rhodes fit into all this? Because I see the word getting buried, and this is part 2 of the video. Cody Rhodes is not buried by losing to Roman Reigns. There is no way in hell that Cody Rhodes is buried by any means. And in fact, I think the worst thing about the IWC is when you don't like something, when WWE doesn't do what you want, or when AEW doesn't do what you want, you resort to the word being buried. And that's not fair. I don't think the word buried means what it used to mean, okay? But more importantly, I see this as something that keeps getting brought up. Cody losing to Roman does not result in the burial of Cody. What WWE needed was a credible name that wasn't The Rock to compete against Roman Reigns. Therefore, Cody got the spotlight, won the Rumble, and challenged Roman Reigns. If he wins the Rumble, cool, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But there could be so many great stories for two reasons. And it comes down to two potential stories. One, I think Cody and Gunther is something that could be really awesome in the future. That's one, not really a big deal. That involves the IC title. Until the world title is actually split, Cody's not touching a world title in my opinion. So why not give him the IC title? I'm totally cool with that. Not a big deal. But again, that's not my primary thing. I want to see Cody actually chase the championship belt. Okay? This build to WrestleMania was forced because Cody won the Rumble. He came back from injury after missing, 7 or 8 months, got a chance to compete for the title, and now he's going to compete for the title, and that's great. But when you listen to the promo that Cody Rhodes delivered on the first time that he spoke on WWE television after debuting, it was very clear his sights were for the championship gold. And I said this in my YouTube short, my TikTok and everything. Cody Rhodes really needs a great underdog chasing the championship storyline. Okay? Winning the Rumble was cool, but it all seems way too forced. And the thing is, Cody should lose. The belt that his father never won, and Cody finally had the opportunity, not being able to actually win, not being able to actually do it. I think there are so many layers to the storyline where Cody Rhodes' redemption storyline could be a year-long story just as good as the Bloodline story. Maybe sometimes he teases to be heel. Sometimes he chooses to be babyface, right? We're going to see certain challenges come up in his way. See, the thing is, WWE fans, wrestling fans in general, Cody Rhodes should be champion. Doesn't really matter how they get there, but once he wins the championship belt, then you don't really give a shit anymore. What needs to happen is you need to make people care about Cody winning the title. I think WWE, no matter what, also needs to split up the world championships. There's way too many people on this roster who could be credible world champions. It hasn't happened yet. It's honestly fairly ridiculous that it hasn't happened yet. I think there's nothing wrong with Roman holding the Universal Championship. If you want to hold it for 3,000 days, you can do that. But if you're going to have that happen, you need to split up those world titles, okay? The presence of a world title on Raw needs to happen. So Cody going through another year of potentially trying to get that opportunity yet again. Several times he might fail, several times he might be successful, but eventually it should inevitably end up with him winning the title. It's actually going to mean more for Cody Rhodes when he has to go through challenges to win the title versus Cody coming back from an injury, being superhuman, and then also winning the Rumble, goes to main event WrestleMania, and then wins the title. It's far less impactful for him to just win at WrestleMania with Roman. It doesn't make as much sense, and I think Cody is such a gifted storyteller in this industry where if you really want to capitalize on Cody winning the belt, do it later on. There's nothing wrong with delaying it. I'm very firm on this. I don't think differently. If Cody wins at WrestleMania, I will not be bothered or be upset, but I will feel like we got robbed from even greater storytelling because I feel like with the way Triple H and WWE are booking this, they can do something special. I want to know what you think down below.